There we go. My bad. But I'll pass it over to Curtis. I'm gonna share my screen as well.
Good morning, everyone. Tanse. My name is Curtis Cardinal. I'm with the Indigenous Tourism Coordinator. I've been working since last December. I'm from Calling Lake. I'm a member of the Big Stone Cree Nation. So that's the nation that I'm from, Northern Alberta. And yeah, it's a little bit about myself. And also I'll let Kayla introduce herself.
Tanse, Bebesisqueo Nitsigasan, Wabiska Ochemia. Still practicing my Cree introduction. But yeah, my name's Kayla Belrose. I'm originally from Slave Lake. That's where I was born in Treaty 8 territory. I have family ties to Sawridge Cree Nation on my Belrose side. As well, I'm related to the beavers and cats in Wabiska, Big Stone Cree Nation. And then I also have my Mooneow side as well, which is my English Scottish side. Simpson's my other last name. And yeah, I'm just grateful to be here with all of you that are in attendance. And I'm the development coordinator at Indigenous Tourism Alberta. And I get to work alongside Curtis and Mackenzie Brown. And yeah, been with ITA for over a year now. So it's been really awesome to meet so many amazing people across the province doing really cool things. So yeah, just grateful to be here. So I'll pass it back to Curtis. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kayla. I'll go on to the next slide here, and I'm just going to read it. Indigenous Tourism Alberta incorporated in 2018 as a non-for-profit member-based society. Indigenous Tourism Alberta ITA provides leadership and the development and marketing of authentic Indigenous tourism experiences through innovative partnerships. Our mission: to grow and promote authentic, sustainable, and culturally rich Indigenous tourism experiences, showcasing Alberta as a premier Indigenous tourism destination. Our vision: to see the Indigenous peoples of Alberta thrive through a financially sustainable Indigenous tourism economy, sharing culture and stories. The next slide we have here is a map of all of the different treaty areas we have in Alberta. Like we have Treaty 4 in Alberta, Treaty 6, Treaty 7, Treaty 8, Treaty 10. I'm from Treaty 8, Big Stone Cree Nation, but my ancestors came from the Tiesis band, which means little bird band, little bird in Cree. And they were from the Lac La Biche area in Treaty 6. So they signed Treaty 6 there in Fort Pitt in 1876. So I have that ancestry as well. And we also have the Métis settlements and the Métis zones of the Métis Nation of Alberta. And at ITA, we have on our, we say on our website there, Indigenous Tourism Alberta acknowledges that we are on the traditional territories in Alberta, home to the many First Nations, Métis and Inuit, who have called these territories home from time immemorial. We acknowledge with respect the traditional territories of Treaty 6, Treaty 7, Treaty 8, Treaty 4, and Treaty 10. We also acknowledge the homelands of the Métis, the 8 Métis settlements, the 6 Métis regions of the Métis Nation of Alberta, and diverse histories and cultures of all Indigenous peoples of this province. And we have in the chat too, where are you from? And if anyone wants to put where they're from, like in the chat, you can put that option there if any of the people would like to do that. And I'll just
Let's
go on.
see, do we have any cousins in the chat? No.
Yeah, you never know. It's so the next thing I want to go into is workshop outcomes. Learn what it means to be visitor ready. Summary of Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada National Guidelines for Visitor Readiness. How to create an engaging itinerary hosting visitors, stories sharing from Indigenous tourism members' business, next steps and support towards marketing market-ready businesses. So I'll go on to the next slide is, what does being visitor ready mean to you? If anyone has any, wants to answer that or whatever thoughts you have, you can put them in the chat. And then as we're going, we could read some of your answers as we go. So the question again is, what does being visitor ready mean to you? And I'll go on to the next slide. And the next slide is, how would you host a visitor? So this is kind of like, if you have any comments, we'll look in the chat here. Let me just go on to them here. Okay, we have a few people. Okay, Treaty 7, Métis Region 3. Okay, we have a few comments there in the chat. I'm just going to go on to the next slide here. 1 second.
Here, well, this is a brainstorm for everybody.
Yeah.
So we'll just take our time and wait for some answers. But
Yeah.
just thinking, like, how would you host a visitor? Like, what does being visitor ready mean to you? Because it's such a, you know, a word that's used within the mainstream tourism industry. So, for example, Travel Alberta uses that word visitor friendly, and they do training online in different towns and cities across Alberta. But just thinking through your own unique perspective, you know, I think about, you know, even for me, even my grandparents, you know, my great grandparents, my chapon, how she would, you know, she'd be cooking and she'd always have a stew on. This is what Nookum told me, my grandma, that she'd always have food cooking. And anyone who walked by, she would say, like, mitsu, like, come eat. And just that kindness, you know, that's, you know, within our peoples, like, the, you know, the older generations, I just think about how they hosted people and visitors. Like, it just reminded me of that story she shared with me, how, you know, anyone walking by, she would just invite them in to come and eat because she had enough food for everyone, you know. So like, I think about that, like, how would you host a visitor? So if you want to, oh, we have Mac. All right, let's see. Curtis, if you wouldn't mind reading the answers for me, and then I can write them in the
Like I
brainstorm.
said, having pieces in place, training, food ready, etc., to have people come visit.
Training.
Yeah, training, food ready, etc., to have people come visit. And we have another comment from Ginger A. So I'll just read her comment here in a little bit once we.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm ready.
Okay, my mom, all right. My mom always made sure we had food and clean sheets. She treated them like they were loved and welcome.
Yeah, like, what makes you feel welcome when you are visiting someone, you know? I know for me, when someone is visiting, I want to, like, ask them right away, like, would you like something to drink, like water, tea, coffee, you know, especially when we're visiting. So
Yeah, another
putting
thing is
ourselves in the visitors' moccasins.
Max said that that's
or
a
their
great
shoes.
good stories, good food, and good tea. Another thing too, like among us, like the Woodland Cree, whenever we have a visitor, we never ask them, do you want to eat? We just feed them, eh? Like, we don't ask anyone, do you want to eat? When a visitor comes in, the first thing we do is we feed them, eh? We don't ask them, like, if they want to eat, we just feed them, you know, and then give them something to drink. We never ask them, oh, do you want something to drink? Or are you hungry?
Mm-hmm.
Never say
Just
that, or
do
do
it
you want
right away.
we just feed them right away as soon as they come through the door. It's kind of like what's the kind of what you're supposed to do culturally in our way.
Yeah.
That's one thing that we do is this: we don't ask, we just give somebody food as
Just
soon as
do
they
it.
come. That's one thing that we done.
Good food and tea.
And then LA said there, Lyndon said, in our ways we say OKA had meaning, my place is your place, closest interpretation I can think of. Okay, so our in our way we say, well, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it means my place is your place, closest interpretation I can think of. It's kind of like this, you know, like in Spanish they say mi casa su casa, like my castle your castle, my home your home.
It's pronounced ukahat.
Oh, okay.
So, and I think it's Cree is tawao, I think.
Yeah, tawao, yeah, tawao. And we always say kiogito, like, mean those are visitors, like when we welcome people, kiogito. So kiogyo is a person who's a visitor. So we always have to make sure we always treat our visitors good, you know, when they come in, and always have that kind of love and respect for them in that way, you know, treat them good. And yeah, it's a big thing in our culture is that thing, eh? Especially in our ceremonies and stuff. When you go to ceremony, they always feed you, or they take care of you if you're a visitor. They're always welcoming. You go to a different nation or a different territory, it's always good in that way. And also we have another one here by Mackenzie, like Métis Crossing. Let me just go up here a bit. Métis Crossing does give something for people's head, heart, and hands, and hungry. And then Rono Walker said, I used to do that. Let me just see, the chat keeps on moving. But now everyone has gluten and lactose intolerances. Good to ask these days. But if I have moose or elk, I give a roast or something when they go, unless I have some ready. GA Ginger A said, information about where I live, special places to visit, stories and laughs. RW wrote Ron, ha ha ha. Okay. Oh, okay, it's not Ron, no, it's Ron.
Awesome. Don't mind me and my chicken scratch me. But we'll save this. What else we got? I used to do that, but oh yes. What if I just put moose meat? I'll put elk too. Awesome. But yeah, sharing food is such a big part of not only our ways, but also in even within tourism, right? Like a lot of people will travel just to try different foods. Awesome. All right, well, if that's all the answers, I just want to say thank you for sharing. Really appreciate it. It helps to know, like, how would you host a visitor, because that's what this workshop is about, being visitor ready. Awesome. Okay, we'll go to the next slide.
Next slide, I'll just read it off here. A national guidelines developing authentic Indigenous experiences in Canada. And these ITA national guidelines are tools to guide you towards success in your business, visitor ready and market ready. And finally, through the steps you need to follow to work with a travel trade to become an export ready business. We'll see you, Lyndon. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the prayer, and yeah, thank you for the songs. Lyndon just wrote that he has to go now. So
Vishnish, Lyndon, good to see you.
Hi, Lyndon. Thank you, Lyndon.
For starting us off in a good way.
Okay.
Right on. All right, Curtis.
Okay. Next one is slide 10. So the ITA national guidelines for visitor ready criteria have all the required business license, insurance, and legislative permits in place in order to operate legally in its location, maintain a staff business location with a set schedule of operating hours, provide a contact telephone number or email contact year-round. If closed for the season, provide automated response through voicemail and email, and have branded on-site signage. So the next one is slide 11. What the visitor ready stage can look like before getting to being market ready. Business exists and is open year round or seasonally, has all its license, permits, and insurance in place in order to operate legally. Basic website or Facebook listing with limited information. No active marketing efforts. Unclear about what visitors will see or do. So the next slide is slide 12. Being visitor ready. Signage.
Here, hold on, Curtis. I just want to say one thing. Just zoom in. Just kidding. We're all zooming. One thing I wanted to say, we'll put the guidelines in the chat. So this is a really good resource when you want to use it as a tool to develop your business within tourism, specifically Indigenous tourism. So the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada created these guidelines. So they have these books that look like this, but we'll send you the PDF in the chat. And so you can actually go through this. So we just shared a short summary of what being visitor ready means. We'll go into more detail as we go on, but I just wanted to share that there's even a, for your business, you can go through a self-assessment guide, which helps to know where you're at. Like, are you visitor ready? Are you market ready? And then just seeing what steps you need to make to become eventually export ready, and just best practices, as well as having that cultural authenticity. It's just a really good resource for developing your business within the Indigenous tourism industry. So they did a really good job, and they actually collaborated with a lot of elders across Canada when they created this, as well as communities and Indigenous tourism entrepreneurs who've been, doing this for a long time. And yeah, so I just wanted to share a little bit more information about that.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. So we're on slide 12, where the River Cree. That's the River Cree in the background in Edmonton. The picture there at night, and they at night they were putting like hope and different letters with the windows there of the room. So I love the teepee poles, how it looks at night there. And yeah, it's an amazing casino. I was there on opening night when they first opened up years ago, and it was great. So being visitor ready, having signage, visitor wayfinding, hospitality, and service training are experience for staff, pre and post experience and itinerary, follow-up and reviews, year-round contact, telephone and email for visitors, posted operating hours, set schedule, obtaining all business license, insurance, and legislative permits. So we're going into a video
I do
next.
want to add one thing. Sorry, Curtis. Just about the reviews, I just wanted to elaborate on that point a little bit. So a lot of people, when they travel to new places, a lot of people will do research through the internet. So looking at Google reviews, TripAdvisor reviews, things like that. So what's really good when you offer an experience to a visitor is to have a follow-up with them, if it's through email or maybe phone, and just, reminding them to, share a review, and, hopefully they had a really positive experience with your business. And those reviews, like having those on your business page on Google or is really helpful, because then other people who are doing research on looking at, looking up an experience, if they see those like 5-star reviews, it's a lot of people will look at reviews before they book and purchase tourism products. So I just wanted to mention that for being visitor ready is just having that follow-up and that post positive experience after they leave, to stay in touch with them, or even to get them to tag your business on Facebook or Instagram, so that way it can, like, more people are aware of what you're doing. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank you. We also have a comment from Mackenzie. Overall, being visitor ready means that you have the pieces in place as outlined in the national guidelines to host visitors and people for experiences. Good. And our next one here is experience Painted Warriors through the lens of a visitor. We have a video here, and Painted Warriors is one of our members of ITA. And we have a video that we'll be playing here about the Painted Warriors. And they're located near Sundre. I went on their experience, and it's just amazing to be out there on they do archery and all types of things, and we'll play the video here for you right away. But it's amazing.
Yeah, so this video was actually done through them hosting media. So once you get to being market ready, you can host more media, such as like journalists. And so really the person who created this video blog of experiences across Alberta with many of our members, like some of them are, let's see, Bibis Joe with Scott, Buffalo Stone Woman here in Treaty 7, Painted Warriors, and then Mohican Trails and Talking Rock Tours. So you can watch the full video on YouTube. It's about 23 minutes. However, we're just going to share the Painted Warriors one, because right off the hop, you can see in the video that there's signage. And so the visitor knows as soon as they arrive that they're in the right place. They're at Painted Warriors, ready for that experience. So I'll start it now, and let me know if the sound is good. Awesome.
Sound is good. Yeah, I hear it.
course, there's going to be an ad. We all know that feeling, right? No, I'm just kidding. These ads. All right, here we go.
I don't hear anything. It's kind of skipping like the video.
So today's experience.
Oh, now it's playing.
Okay, 1 second. I'll stop sharing and then I'll reshare with the sound. It might have share sound. There we go.
The sun has come out and the weather has changed. I am so excited.
So today's experience on the horses really is about connection. So
Today was such a big day. I would say a few years ago I decided I was never going to ride a horse again. I just had so many bad experiences on like trail rides and not feeling like the horses were well taken care of, or I didn't feel in control of the horse. And so today when Tracy said to me, oh, we're gonna learn to ride a horse, do you want to do it? I thought, okay, this experience could be a different experience.
So now what's really interesting, this brown and white one that you see right here, is the paint horse. Even though he's kind of more in the middle of the pack, he's the one that they follow. He's the one that decides where they go, even though he's not technically the leader.
So I'm going to say yes to this, and I am so glad that I did. So the Cree people are known to have great relationships with horses, and Tracy took me through such a unique experience of, instead of just hopping on a horse and saying, okay, we're gonna go for a trail ride, we first went out to see the horses and observe them. Alrighty. Ooh.
Like when you get to go out and catch and lead your own horse back, that's the starting of making that connection with the horse.
Right. And then we led them back into the stable, and then we brushed them again to kind of establish a relationship. Put the saddle on, I learned how to do that, and then actually started inside so I could have a relationship with the horse before we went outside. And so I've never really felt comfortable around horses, and this changed everything. So instead of just hopping on a horse and like hoping for the best, you actually get to know the horse and it gets to know you, and you feel so much more comfortable. It was just really an amazing experience, and her respect for the relationship with the horse, it changed my opinion of riding horses again.
So let's say you have to read an incredibly long email from your boss that you have to finish before the big meeting starts.
It's wonderful if you can bring them. This is just kind of an easy way to learn how to use this and get a fire going.
Yep. Okay. Oh.
So there you go.
Wow.
So you got a fire going, and what I like about this is you got the flame working for a long time. So you have kind of time to work with it, and you have a big enough flame that the wind's not going to put it out right away.
Right.
Yep. So you got it a little bit closer to that cotton ball.
This is amazing! I did that! Lit my first fire! It only took 10 minutes. I traveled to Sundre to meet.
All right. So the reason we wanted to share that video is because when you think about hosting visitors, especially, folks who are non-Indigenous and are having this experience connecting to the way you see the world through your stories, your unique experience that you're offering them, you can kind of see through this blog how it really changed her perspective on even that connection with horses. Because, before she shared how, she didn't really like riding horses. She was scared, her first experiences were seeing horses maybe not treated too good and things like that. So, but then going to Painted Warriors with Tracy and then Tim, being able to create that connection with the horse, and also just a unique experience where, she's getting stories and yeah, so I want to share this. Oh, Curtis raised your hand.
Yeah, just a comment here. Like I said, ask the participants some of the things that they saw in the video that showcased how they hosted the visitor. If there's anyone that wants to put those in the comments, and we could read them out loud. If any comments on the video or anything. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Curtis. Yeah, so when you're creating an experience to host visitors, you want to think about having an engaging itinerary framework. So this is a really awesome example we use at ITA. So thinking about it as like that mountain peak. So, before you hike a mountain, you have to be prepared, right? And so helping prepare the visitor for the experience. So before you start is providing them with pre-trip guidelines and necessary information such as maps and transport. So even, on your website or your Facebook page, having a Google map link so they know how to get to your experience, and then briefing the visitors as well so they know that what they're purchasing. So briefing them beforehand, like what you're offering, and what package, like what it all includes. So creating that package for visitors. And I always want to just say, imagine yourself in the shoes of the visitor. How would you want to be hosted? What information would you find helpful to be shared before starting the experience? And then we have the buildup. So as we start making our way to the peak, so welcoming visitors, introducing them to their community hosts, sharing stories and information to enrich the experience. So even just through that video, you could see Tracy sharing a little bit of stories about the horses specifically, and then getting the visitor to actually brush the horse to have that connection. So that could be like part of the buildup before actually getting on the horse and going for a trail ride. And then the activity experience, orientation and safety briefing, creating connections with visitors and between visitors. So, I think a really good thing that we always ask is, where's everyone from? Having that between that group of visitors, introductions, everyone introduce themselves, everyone get to know each other, especially if you're hosting maybe different groups of people at the same time who maybe have never met each other. And then build visitor expectations for the wow moments. So, letting them know there's this one viewpoint on the trail ride, have your camera ready, or we can stop and take a photo here, getting them ready for those wow moments. And then we have the peak of the experience. So this is the highest level of visitor involvement and immersion. So, the most memorable part of the experience. So engaging the visitor's senses. So, thinking of those 5 senses, how can we engage all our senses throughout the experience? Because I think, what's so unique about Indigenous tourism is it really helps connect people in a way that they don't get in mainstream society, especially when they're out on the land, or even trying different new foods, or experiencing art forms that they've never seen before. it's very much engaging to their senses, right? Visually, or even hearing songs too, right? Hearing the drum for the first time could be really impactful for a visitor. So yeah, just engaging the visitor's senses. And then having that photo-friendly, shareable moment that, you know, they can take home and share with their family and friends. Because a lot of people who experience Indigenous tourism for the first time, they're going to go home and share with their family and friends, because a lot of them get a new perspective and it actually changes the way they see the world. So this is just what we've heard from people who have, you know, taken part in our members' experiences. And of course, the experiences offered are so diverse, which is what I think so amazing about ITA's membership, is everyone is so unique and doing their own thing. So yeah, and then we have the wind down. So visitors reflect on new knowledge, skills, or perspective gained. So maybe there's a time after for visitors to even ask more questions within that wind down. And then connections with visitors continue to be strengthened. So even from the video with Tracy at Painted Warriors, they kind of, you could see their wind down where they reflect on their new knowledge and skills. They even start doing some skills like, you know, starting a fire, using that flint and the knife, and then also sharing food together, having that wind down time together where, you know, Tracy is cooking over the fire that the visitor helped make, and then they're cooking and eating together, and that's probably a good time to create those connections and for it to be strengthened. And then after, so when they leave, maintain visitor connections and marketing. So, you know, they got photos at your experience, ask them to share and tag your business, because then the word gets out. You know, that word of mouth is such a big part of successful marketing. So sharing photos taken during the experience with visitors, asking visitors to review the experience on TripAdvisor and social media. So yeah, kind of what I was referencing before. So that's our memorable moments, engaging itinerary framework. Awesome. So I'm just going to go into looking at the different market readiness levels within the tourism industry. And then some of these points are specific to Indigenous tourism. So as you know, in development is really about planning your business. Yeah, learning like what is your authentic story, figuring out what are the cultural protocols in your business, and then having that community engagement and experience development, and being able to figure out how to operate your business sustainably, not only environmentally, but also like financially, you know, to be sustainable. And so you can continue doing business. And then networking in the tourism industry, creating those partnerships and, you know, those relationships with other tourism businesses in the area, as well as DMOs, you know, even people like ITA, we're here to help you. And then just gaining that experience through training and certification. So all of you have been through that. Now getting to being visitor ready. So business exists and is open year round seasonally. You have all your licenses, permits, and insurance in place to operate legally. So depending on your business, if you're in culinary or you're an outdoor guide, or maybe you're looking at opening an art gallery, you know, there's all different types of licenses and permits. And so if you need support, we're going to be opening a ITA member portal in the future. So using that as like a ITA member social media to share, you know, what resources you use to help other members, specifically in the different industries within tourism, such as like outdoor guiding or accommodations and things like that. And then when you're visitor ready, you want to have a basic website or at least a Facebook page with, you know, sometimes it's limited information, like what are your hours? And so when you're visitor ready, you don't have any active marketing efforts yet. So, you know, there's obviously the free marketing that you can do on your social media channels, but no active marketing efforts where you're not like buying ads through, like, say you're not trying to get a big billboard right away, or you're not having ads in like the newspaper or the, wind speaker radio, or, like, so maybe you don't have any marketing efforts yet, or hosting travel media and things like that, but that's something you're looking forward to in the future. However, you could still be marketing yourself through your social media channels, because it is a free resource that you can use, like Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, so perhaps visitors are unclear of what they will see or do, because maybe you don't have those promotional videos yet. So they don't know what the experience offers other than what you describe on your Facebook page or your social media or your website. And then a lack of consistent hours or response to hours. So again, when you're still in development, sometimes you don't have those set hours. And then perhaps when visitors email or call, like maybe you're not always answering the phone. So that's where, when you're moving to market ready, you want to be able to have that consistency within your hours, and also getting back to visitors when they have questions or they make calls, that you want to get back to them at least within 24 hours. And then you have signage and wayfinding for visitors, so they don't get lost on the res. They know where to find you. You have signs present, wayfinding, or even if you're located in an urban center, like you got a signage and for your business. So that's being visitor ready. And then I'll just share market ready fairly quick. I won't get into export ready just because that's, it's overwhelming to go through all of it. But market ready, just open consistently for at least 2 years. You have a good website with contact info and you're reachable 24/7. You have promotional materials and explanation of what visitors will see or do, and you meet and exceed industry expectations for their sector. So like if you're, have a restaurant, you meet the restaurant standards of Alberta, like food and safety, for example. So communicates with and responds to potential visitors year round, and you're ready to accept advanced reservations. So say someone wants to book your experience for their summer holidays, having that booked within 4 months, and maybe have cancellation policy as well. So starting to figure out those logistics within your tourism business. All right, so I'm going to go through the matrix here. So this is ITA's market preparedness matrix. So it goes from grassroots to visitor ready to market ready to export ready. And so we're going to send you a PDF of this document. Right now we broke it into a few different sections, so you could actually see it, but it's one big giant graph. So we have operations and infrastructure. So the basic level 1 for when you're in development is having the public health requirements adhered to, including cleanliness protocols. So making sure your business is up to standard for public health requirements. And then to be visitor ready, you have your business license, required permits and insurance obtained and up to date. And then you have visitor and employee safety regulations are adhered to, including emergency plans, safety equipment, and training. All right. So, if you need that hospitality training or, different outdoor guide permits and things like that. And then just so you're aware, once you get to market ready, just having those daily operations and operating procedures, and then business accounting and financial management in place, and then staff and staff training are met to meet current demands of the business, and then site infrastructure, facilities, equipment are sufficient, safe, and maintained regularly. So, don't get overwhelmed by all of that right now. It's a step-by-step process. It takes years to build your business to, get market export ready, and that's okay. Hosting visitors is the first step. And so that's what this workshop's really about. But yeah, we're here to support you in your journey towards possibly becoming market or export ready. So thinking about products and experiences that you're offering the visitor, the number one thing in Indigenous tourism is maintaining that cultural authenticity in the design and implementation of the product or experience, and that it can be verified, so having that community engagement piece is really important. Giving back to the community in a way through and then remaining authentic to your story, who you are, where you're from. And yeah, that authenticity piece is so important. And then that's also for, yeah, in development and visitor ready. And then just a few other things for your products and experiences once you want to level up to being market ready, export ready, is just having that consistency again of increasing, you know, visitors and having positive reviews, feedback, industry support, accreditation, you know, awards and recognition. Even, you know, being a member of ITA, you get invited to our summit yearly, you know, and you can actually nominate your business for awards. And so you can, you know, post your award in your business, right? And show your visitors that, you know, your experience is award winning, or, you know, having those independent reviews as well from visitors. So those are just some things to think about as you grow your business. And then, yeah, just a way to evaluate client satisfaction. So keeping those web-based reviews, holding on to those, so you can keep track of, you know, how people review your business. And then looking at, there is a sufficient demand for the business product or service, and it can be verified. So just thinking about even our stats at ITA, like 1 in 4 domestic travelers are looking for an authentic Indigenous experience. So we know that there is a demand, but finding that unique connection with your business on, you know, finding your target market, like what visitors want to come and experience what you're offering. And then you have contingency plans in place being developed in case of the inability to offer business normal product or service. So example, bad weather, or example is, you know, we've been going through a pandemic for almost 2 years, you know, so a lot of ITA members have had to shift their business experience to adhere to the COVID protocols, you know, having smaller groups. So, you know, just being adaptable with your business and what you're offering. And then just having your equipment, training, and information is provided for visitors to have, you know, to enjoy and feel safe during your product, service, or experience. So, you know, especially if you're like doing something like canoeing, you want to have life jackets, right? Like basic things like that. All right. So I'll just go through marketing and communications briefly, since being visitor ready, you know, you may not be doing any active marketing efforts yet. However, it's something that you can look forward to as your business develops towards being market ready in the future. So the basic thing that visitor ready businesses need for their marketing and communications is that branded signage that identifies your business, and any required directional information and signage is present. So number one thing, we want our visitors to know how to get to your business. All right, and then all these other ones for market ready, just having that set schedule of operating hours, and you're contactable 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. So you don't have to be sitting at your phone 24 hours a day, but just having that voicemail option for them, and then you get back to them within 24 hours, or website inquiries, and then just checking your email to respond within a timely manner, you know, and eventually being able to hire staff to help with that is part of being market ready. So yeah, respond within 24 hours, and then you have a professional online presence, so a website, and then yeah, to find your minimum hours, dates, operations, products, service offering, and contact info, and maybe, you know, share a little bit of your story on your social media so people can get to know you, and then they'll, you know, sharing those just a bit so that they'll be intrigued and they'll want to come experience what you're offering. And then having that brand identity, so maybe thinking about, oh, what's the logo for my business, you know, so people will see it and know. So for example, we have the ITA logo here, so when people see that, they know, okay, Indigenous Tourism Alberta. And then marketing activities are undertaken at a minimum loose strategy, which is based on market research. So as you keep growing and evolving, there's different resources to do your market research, like, what kind of visitors are you targeting to come to your experience. So Business Link has a great program where they do market research. So there's different resources for your business in Alberta as well. ITA is always happy to help with that. All right, so I'm just gonna go to the next and kind of zoom through a little more of these. All right, so culture and sustainability. I'll just read the ones for visitor ready. So strengthening Indigenous culture, preserving traditional knowledge, and empowering Indigenous communities is an outcome of business operations. So, staying true to your values of supporting your community. So, even just through our membership, we've seen that through so many different ways. For example, like Métis Crossing, they hire a lot of Métis summer students to help to preserve that traditional knowledge transfer. So the staff are actually learning more about their culture, as well as being, making an income too. So it's, finding that balance of giving back to community. And then business incorporates respect for and protection of Mother Earth. This can be verified. So, making conscious business decisions to, maybe use more sustainable things, like if you're serving food, maybe you have like biodegradable plates and things like that, like making those choices for your business. And then educating visitors and clients about Indigenous cultures is an outcome of business operations. So, I think right now we see more and more of a trend from non-Indigenous people, even just in Alberta, who just want to learn and are being more open-minded to embrace Indigenous culture and understanding. So yeah, having that part in your business where you can help educate your visitors and clients about about you and where you come from. And yeah, so that's another important piece within the visitor experience. So we will put a link in the chat, but this is a good free resource that Travel Alberta created about being visitor friendly. It's an introductory course and case study, and it's free online training. And then they actually have a new program coming out in the spring of 2022. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Oops. All right, so I'll just share a few next steps. I'm actually going to pass it to Curtis. Awesome.
Okay, hello everyone. Next steps towards being market ready. Website where visitors can obtain information on operating hours, location, and how to Google Map our link directions. Implementing a market strategy for your business. Social media channels utilizing for marketing your business. Hosting media, journalists, travel influencers, etc. Operate a minimum of 2 years and can be reached 24 hours a day, 365 days a year by website, phone, fax, or email. Return calls and emails within 24 hours. If you experience to require special equipment or training, these are provided. Examples, life jackets, safety equipment, etc. Alternative plans for bad weather and emergency plans and outdoor experiences. And I put in the chat there too, the visitor friendly alberta.ca. So if you want to look up that, that's one of the links in the chat also. And I'll go on to the next slide here is another big thing is funding resources to be visitor ready. I'll mention a few here. Is Travel Alberta's Cooperative Investment Program. Eligible if you're on ATIS. Now ATIS is on Travel Alberta, and it's free to get on ATIS once you're there, and you have been operating for 3 years. And the Travel Alberta Capital Investment Program invest in infrastructure and host visitors. So we could put in the chat there some of the investment program that I'm going to put into chat right now into the link. Let me just go into the chat and put that link there for you, everyone. Also, another thing for funding is if you go on our website, www.indigenoustourismalberta.ca, and you go under the search bar and go under click under funding, and it'll bring up all the funding that we have available on our website, and it'll be under funding for communities and entrepreneurs, and it'll also be loans on there as well. And we have it in different sections, the funding, and some of the funding is like for different categories and different businesses. And we also have some of the funding for the Métis on there is the Apito Gusan. That's another funding we have for that's available on there. And there's a bunch of links, and I encourage everyone to go there because we update it periodically on our website whenever we learn of new funding. And another thing is to sign up for our newsletter. Go to our website and where it says sign up for updates, sign up for our newsletter. And in any of these new funding or loans or grants that we become aware of, we share that in our newsletter, and it's also on our website. So that's just something to look at. And then I'm going to go on to the next slide here. And the next slide is some of the Indigenous Tourism Market Preparedness webinar series. And we have also already done the In Development workshop. And this is currently the Visitor Ready workshop. But the ones we have coming up are the Market Ready workshop. And that'll be February 14th, Valentine's Day, from 10:30 to 12 p.m. And then also we have the Export Ready workshop, February 16th, 10:30 to 12 p.m. And also we have on the 14th, Igniting the Fire workshop, part 2, February 14th. That's at 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. We also have Growing the Fire workshop, part 2, February 17th from 2 to 3 p.m. We also have Sustaining the Fire workshop, part 2, February 22nd, 2022 from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. We also have Gathering Around the Fire workshop, part 2, February 24th, 2020 to 2 to 3 p.m. So I encourage everyone, we'll be getting emails in those, and to everyone, if they would like to attend, that would be great. If we
so Tom, our marketing director, and Mackenzie, our development director, will be facilitating those workshops, the ones on the bottom. So I recommend, because you're at Visitor Ready level, to check out the Growing the Fire workshop, because that'll be part 2 of this workshop. And it'll be given by, another new perspective of Tom and Mackenzie. So yeah, that'll be a good one to tune into on February 17th. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, I would like to invite Harley to come up as a panelist. So we have Harley Bastine from Piikani Nation, and he's the owner operator of Buffalo Rock Tipi Camp in Southern Alberta. And we got a really great photo of you, Harley, from the cultural awareness training we did in the Lethbridge region. So welcome, Harley. Okay, good to see you. So once you're able to figure out your camera and unmute, I'll ask you to unmute.
I think I've unmuted.
Yep.
You hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
All righty. Well, that's the first step. So is my
Awesome.
camera working or am I?
No, we don't see you.
Okay.
So I think you have to say start video, which might be at the top.
Okay, down there. Okay.
Oh, there you are. You was just on.
Briefly,
Yeah, I could see your eyebrows.
let me adjust my camera here. Here we go.
There, right on. Good to see you.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Good
much
to see y'all too.
for being our guest speaker today on the Visitor Ready webinar. So I'll actually stop sharing my screen for a second here. Just have us here. Right on. So yeah, if you want to introduce yourself and your business, we can start with that.
All righty. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank ITA for inviting me to come and share some of my experiences in the business world, in this case, tourism. Bit about myself. My name is Harley Bastine. I'm from the Piikani First Nation, part of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Treaty 7. Maybe they'll be in Blackfoot. Okay, Nestoni Taniko Yitimamaka. Niche Piikani Kon. Itamix Kanatani. basically said that my Blackfoot name means can be translated into the leader. I'm from the Gunny First Nation, and wish you all a good day. A bit about myself first, so you kind of have an idea. I've been involved in. I've been an entrepreneur, business person for well over 3 decades, I guess I could say. I've 17 of those decades. Of those years, I worked in the environment. I mean, I owned and operated a environmental consulting business called Harmony Walkers. We done work both nationally and internationally. I was getting to be like I, spend a lot of time in the environmental industry. Like I said, 3.5, over 30 years, anyways. Various capacities. Sat on advisory panels for industry, governments, NGOs, lobby groups, things of that nature. I have a very strong environmental and land orientated, a background. I live and breathe Mother Nature, nature, outdoors. Just one of those kind of people that you fall asleep if I'm sitting around a computer too long, as I just kind of nod me off. So if I nod off here, just give me a little poke and I'll wake up. Just joking there. So a bit about my business, Buffalo Rock Tipi Camp. When I was owned and operated Harmony Walkers Incorporated environmental consulting, I spent a lot of time working in industry. 99.9% of my involvement in the environment industry has been in the private sector. While I was working in the private sector, I came across a lot of things that I didn't like. I seen that I didn't like, which was happening to our planet. I soon realized, who the main players were in terms of, I guess, our daily lives. A lot of developers and multinational corporations and things of that nature. Foreign investment, things like the oil sands, Alberta oil sands, who's all involved in it, who's steering the direction, things of that nature. I was really turned off by how little Mother Earth has any protection. It was she is and was and is viewed as a commodity that is to be controlled and marketed, not as a living, breathing energy, just like we human beings are. So I didn't, like I said, I really had a lot of problems with it. So in my role doing EIAs and helping clients get permits to develop, I went over and above in maximizing and suggesting maximizing protecting the areas that were slotted for development, be it pipeline, oil well, buildings, sustainable projects like wind and solar. I always stepped outside of the the regulatory agencies, be it federal or provincial. And I took that extra step to try and bring forth in my reports the spiritual nature of the area that was slotted for a development. And when I first started that, I was kind of, maybe I was not really received too great by the developers, people that hired my company to go out and do this work. But after I sat with them and bring in the report, they read it over and they call you up and say, well, what's this, Harley, and what's that? And once I started sharing and getting into the land and how precious it is and how delicate the land really is, I started noticing somewhat of a turnaround by a lot of the big, corporations that I worked for. And seems like after struggling for a few years, the word kind of got out in the industry that I was doing amazing work out on the land in terms of not only getting them a permit to develop, but to protecting and going that extra step in protecting and reclaiming and things of that nature. So after approximately 3 years, and all of a sudden things really picked up and took off for myself and Harmony Walkers. So that was my, I guess, getting my feet wet in terms of dealing with people and related to the environment. So after so many years in the environment with Harmony Walkers, I started thinking to myself, well, I should try and find a way to at least share an insight on protecting Mother Earth. So I thought of different ways I could do that, and I also thought about the day when I would retire and hang up my traveling boots and ground myself to home a little more. And so I went for a walk on my property one day, and I guess I got a message. It's the only way that I could describe it, is that somehow I got this vision that I was standing right on the solution to my quest. So I thought, wow, this is really something. So I started to think about having a facility to where I could teach how to not only how to protect the Mother Earth and the planet, but how to make it more fun, more understandable, more meaningful to people that are interested in learning on sustainability and things of that nature. So I figured, well, I'm going to start myself a teepee camp, an educational teepee camp, to where I can invite people to come out and I can share my knowledge, both traditional, Indigenous science-wise and Western science, and I braided them all together. And I presented this as a venue for interested folks to come out and experience this. And again, starting into an area that was like education and tourism was never something that I was, ever crossed my mind. That's what I wanted to do. But I believe the spirits of the land took me down that road. So I went ahead and I started planning, and so I got some teepees together. I done some work on my property, which was I inherited from my father, and so yeah, so I came up with the idea of an educational teepee camp that teaches both parallels between Indigenous science, Indigenous perspective, Western science, and Western perspective in the context of a riparian forest, which is where my property is on the Old Man River Valley, which is a riparian forest here in the southwestern corner of the province. I was very lucky to get the land from my dad. My dad and my well, actually my whole family, going back to my grandparents, were all, I guess, environmentally aware people. They were very crucial on how they graced the land, graced the river bottom, because we were all ranchers. We all come out of ranching and farming backgrounds. So I always thought at a young age is that, you got to protect it. It's precious, it's special. And if we damage it too much, the spirits that live there will go, they'll leave it, they'll desert it. And the land, the animals, and the people will all become sick. So I've always had that teaching from throughout my younger age and right up to today. So I blended all that worldly travel experience and traditional and academically and whatnot, and I put it all together one day, and I started the Buffalo Rock Tipi Camp. Buffalo Rock caters to industry, people, or companies like Shell, Royal Dutch Shell, Petrocan, to name a few, have come down to Buffalo Rock to experience, to bring their staff, their management, to learn that perspective. I also get educational groups, elementary, high school, post-secondary, that want to come out and learn that, to get I guess a 101 of it, So I'm very happy, that I was able to provide that to, and then as well as tourists, international tourists. I've had, up until the pandemic, I had a steady flow coming in from Germany of clients, from Switzerland, from China, and the United States. Tourists groups, larger groups that would come down and stay at Buffalo Rock, and we would host them and entertain them and educate them. They would sleep in teepees based on what their requests were. We would bring in entertainment, Indigenous entertainment, drum groups, dances, storytellers, elders, hand games, traditional games. And while the people would spend, 3 to 5 days at Buffalo Rock, depending what package they wanted, we would basically just immerse them in nature, and the Blackfoot culture. And I have seen so many miracles, what I call miracles, that change people's perspective on their place on the planet, on how they fit into the bigger scheme of things. Because why? Because they were never shown that. They were never, exposed to, say, an elder and an Indigenous elder teaching. There's a lot of our old elders who were born in prior and around the turn of the century have all, made their journey to the other side. So we've lost a lot of that in our cultural ways. And so I bring in elders, and they sit down and they, we have a talk, group sessions. I'll take folks for nature walks, where I, again, in the riparian forest, I teach them all the different trees. I talk about the different trees, how we're connected to them, how the animals are connected to them, how the taller trees and the shorter shrubs are all interconnected, and how it's just one big continuous circle flow of life, energy, and spirituality. That's what I teach there. That's what I share at Buffalo Rock. And like I said, I've so many tears shed at Buffalo Rock. People who are deeply affected, profoundly affected by just being there. Not so much myself or the other elders, but it's a combination of everything. And I always the spirits of the River Valley for doing that. And so a little bit kind of break away from that part of things. Buffalo Rock is definitely a business, which I started, like I mentioned earlier. The reason why I started Buffalo Rock was to share. So to bring different perspectives on, on the land, on our cultures. And so I use that as the cornerstone on which to build on. This year will be the 12th season of Buffalo Rock being in operation. We continue to build and expand, improve our infrastructure. Just this year, we're looking at, we're going to be able to get on the grid, as it were. Provide our services, provide the convenience to our visitors, provide security, things like, up until now, I've been strictly using solar for lighting and generators for generating electricity. But Buffalo Rock has come to where we can afford to do that with a little bit of help from, funding organizations, shall I say. And so we're very excited this year to have that service. We're going to upgrade our showers naturally, and just keep making Buffalo Rock a more user-friendly place. We're definitely into keeping our footprint on the land to a bare minimum, as to some of the visitors who came already and experienced Buffalo Rock realize that it's a very special place. It is clean as a whistle. And the reason why we keep it that way is to respect the land. We don't leave garbage laying around or anything like that. It is spotless, not even a cigarette butt on the ground. We just keep it pristine. The riparian forest and the grasslands itself was, again, when my dad owned it, he was very strict on, limited grazing, things of that nature. Keep the cattle out of that part of the river valley for one grazing season and move them over here, that sort of thing. So when I took over the land, it was pristine. It is the only stretch of riparian forest on the entire Oldman River Valley, from the mountains to where it conflues down into the South Saskatchewan. It is the most pristine piece of riparian forest, and we have about 1.5 miles of riverfront there, and it's just a beautiful place. It is just because we keep it so natural. We have a lot of species that flock to our place year round. We don't have any hunting there. So the ungulates, the moose, and the deer know that that's a safe home for them. And you readily see them there. We have bird species, nesting bird species that we rarely see anywhere else. I guess in this part of the province, nesting at Buffalo Rock. We've got river otters that have pulled in about 10 years ago and stayed. So it was just, and to me, that's just a testament of what we all can do to live in harmony and balance with creation, what Creator made for us. It's a very special thing, and I encourage any of the young upstart entrepreneurs and business people, if you're going into, tourism and your businesses are going to be nature-based, treat that land with the utmost respect, because the spirits are there and they're watching you. And if they take a liking to you, they'll help you in ways that you could never tell. And the old people used to say, if you treat animals and plants good, you'll have luck. You'll have blessings. And that is true. I used to hear that as a child and never paid it much mind, but today hey, that is 100% true. So keep your places, your lands, keep them like they're the most precious thing in your life, because really they are. That's what they are. They're precious. And they sustain life on this planet as we know it. As we conceive the shape we're in terms of global warming and pandemics. It all goes back to that teaching that my grandma used to say, when the land becomes sick, then all the people will suffer. And, that's traditional Blackfoot wisdom and knowledge. And, we all can do our part. I talk with people and they say, well, I'm just one person, me. And what I can do is small. And I says, well, a whole bunch of small things can turn into a big thing. So, don't sell yourself short if you're picking up garbage there and think, well, that's just something small. If we all done that, then we'd have a nice, clean planet. Our animals, wouldn't be getting sick and in turn getting us sick, and like it's the whole circle of life. So I just want to put that out because I'm very passionate about that. And outside of being business owners and entrepreneurs, we are human beings and we all have to do our part in that. So getting back to the business part here, I'll share some of my business experience with Buffalo Rock. Like I say, it's the 12th season this year. I'm looking forward to it. One day the pandemic is gonna release its grip, and I expect to see things turn back to normal down at Buffalo Rock, and I'm very excited for that day to happen, because I just love having people come down and share the experience, and I really look forward to expanding that to more people. But to be a business person, I have found, and over the years, is that it takes hard work, it takes vision, it takes sacrifice, a lot of sacrifice. If you had to start in business world that I had, I basically started a business in Calgary in the environment. And you can imagine the overhead costs that I had to occur. And really, I couldn't pay myself for the first 2 years. I put in a lot, be prepared to put in a lot of sweat equity. Prepared to get up and start things without waiting for someone to come and help you or give you funding. Just get out there and do it. And be prepared to be prepared for the long haul. And really ask yourself, where do I see myself in this business in 10 years, let's say? I set goals for myself in my business ventures as 3 years. Where am I going to be in 3 years from today when I start? Where would I like to see myself in 5 years? And set realistic goals for yourself and work towards those goals. And by, I use 3 years, you can use whatever increment you want. But be prepared to, do a lot of sweat equity. The thing about being a business owner, you're the first one at work and you're the last one off work. My day at Buffalo Rock, and the season starts at 6 o'clock in the morning, normally ends around 10 or 11 at night. It's a long hours. I get home totally exhausted. Jump in a shower. Sometimes I'm too tired to eat. I just crash out. Get up, eat, out the door I go. But it's that energy that I get from what I do that just makes it fun for me. I go there and I laugh and have fun, joke around. It's just something that I enjoy, and that's very important to being a business person. You got to enjoy it. You can't go there, oh no, I gotta go, that's your attitude, you're in the wrong line of work. Sorry to say it, but from my perspective anyway, but the rewards of being your own person, your own boss, are immense. The greatest joys that I get out of being a business owner is paying someone a paycheck, supporting their families, especially on here in my reserve with employment opportunities outside of working for the band are pretty much zero. every year I get people, Harley, when are you starting down there? Are you starting, can I come work? And, and I wish I could hire them on, but I'm just limited, hey. But yeah, that's, to me, that's one of the greatest rewards is helping out other people support their families. That's important. That's part of harmony and balance of who you are and the environment that you work in. It's a part of it. You can't just, I heard one other operator on the reserve here who had a camp, a teepee camp, but it didn't succeed too much. But I heard this person, first thing this person was talking about is his profit margin, and I thought, if a profit's going to come, it will come in due time. It's not going to come on your first year or your second year, just unless you hit some kind of a gold mine and you got tons of clients coming in and you're just busier than oh heck. But that's to me, that's wishful thinking. So be prepared, young entrepreneurs. Be prepared to struggle a bit, but in the struggles, you will gain resiliency. Your minds will be broader, and people will respect you for who you are and what you can accomplish and achieve. It took me, 3 years to really be, well, actually even 5 at Buffalo Rock to be totally comfortable with the services that I provide at Buffalo Rock. But the thing about it is that you just keep pushing forward. You'll run into bumps in the roads. For example, one year at Buffalo Rock, we had 6 teepees set up. All of a sudden, a weird storm come and hail and lightning and almost tornadoes and wiped out 4 of our teepees. In the meantime, we had about 40 kids that had wind on the field trip that were staying, and our camp was totally wiped out. At least the teepees were. So and my daughter Carly, she's a partner of mine. Actually, she'll be taking over Buffalo Rock whenever I can't do it anymore. And she's a young person, and she just broke down and cried. I said, no time for crying. Let's see what we can do right now. First of all, I told her, you phone that lady there with all the troop leader, group leader, and you explain to her what happened. Oh, I don't want to do it, Dad. You do it. I said, no, you do it. I'm busy over here cleaning up everything. So she phoned and she came. Oh yeah, I talked to her and she's understood and they're coming back. And I said, well, great. So we had a couple of extra teepees. We set them up. We took the tore down stuff. We took their wet stuff and we hung them up on the trees to dry and whatnot. And by the time they came back, we had partial of a teepee camp for them. Mind you, they had to double up for the sleeping, sleeping in the teepees, but they were just so glad to come back. And it's, oh, wow, you guys done such a good job on, recovering. And so I share that little experience is that, no matter how hard it is, you got to dig deep. You got to, in some cases, go probably where you've never been before with yourself, and take that strength and that spirit and that energy and put it out there. And you know what? That's going to make you a better person. It's going to make you stronger, more resilient, and wiser. So I share those kind of experiences. Like I said, I've been in a lot of business all over the world. And resiliency is a very, very important component to being an entrepreneur. You don't give up. And the other thing is being genuine as a person who you are. To all those around you, your employees, your guests, your clients, your family, you know, just, you know, find your who you are and how you can apply yourself to a situation and just give it, you know, 100% effort, and be kind and be friendly and try be funny, which I'm not very funny, but I wish I could tell jokes like my cousin does. Old Frank English, he just, you know, the people just love Frank because he's got so many good jokes and they laughs and you know, I just have a hard time without Frank being there. You know, unfortunately, Frank has suffered a stroke, so it's not going to be there this year. So I said, Frank, teach me some of your jokes, please. You know? But you know, that's important. Don't your personal qualities and your journey through being an entrepreneur, a businessman, a business lady, a business person. There is no greater feeling to be an accomplished entrepreneur and business person. With that comes independence. That comes you pick and choose. You're going to work hard. If you're seasonally like I am with Buffalo Rock, like I said, those long hours. But on some days when I'm not booked, I slow down a little bit. But there's still always maintenance. Things go break or get out of shape when you get a huge amount of people passing through your place, you know, loose doorknob, broken branch, what have you. You always just keep busy, keep going. I open up in May long weekend, and I officially open up May long weekend, officially close Labor Day long weekend. But my hours, my time expands right into October, and starts early in April. Well, I don't have any teepees set up yet, but I have the rest of the facility going for day visits. They want to camp? Sure, bring your own teepee, your own tent. We got lots of room for you. Just at the end of this month, and it's February 26th, I think it's a Saturday, I've got CPAW's group coming out. I've had another group that just left. Winter experience. So, you know, it's ongoing. I was originally thought, well, I'm just going to stay within those hours, but my commitment to sharing protection of the planet and sharing our culture and our viewpoints, I figured, no, you can't just, you know, have office hours. And you're an entrepreneur, Harley. Quit trying to be lazy. Get out there and work. So I get out there every day and I give it 110%. No matter what I do, no matter what you do, you give it 110%, you will get some results, I guarantee you. Don't give up. Some people, you know, I've had that, relatives, siblings, oh, it's not going to happen, you know, man. Nobody's going to come there. I won't go there. I said, well, you're you and you're not everybody else. thanks for the positive criticism. I listened to you. I got a vision. I got a mission. I'm on a mission from nature. And I just keep going forward. And Buffalo Rock is immersed in the environment protection. Buffalo Rock has been the home of the Pagan Friends Along the River Fish Rescue. Pagan Friends Along the River is a non-funded NGO group that I started in 1990. We disbanded in 1999. We got together to raise awareness of the impacts of the construction and operation of the Old Man River Dam. In 1999, the local res governments and the other two levels of government got together, and they were going to take care of the river valley and rehabilitate it. So we disbanded. But we come together once a year under the auspices of the Pagan Friends Along the River to do the Pagan Friends Along the River Fish Rescue. This year will be our 32nd year of rescuing stranded fish that are destined to die. And just that in itself, you'll get energy from doing stuff like that. You get a blessing. To me, to save life is to receive life. And at the end of the fish rescue, I am full of life. I'm walking 10 foot above the ground. That's how rewarding it is. So if you're into tourism and your tourism has got to do with nature, if you approach it along the guidelines that I've said, you'll make it. You'll make it. And you know what? You won't be alone. The ancestors will be there, help you out. So it took me 3 to 5 years to be ready. I got all the kinks out of my operation. And right now I'm ready 24/7, 365. Just give me a call and we'll go out there and we'll show you an incredible time on the land. So I guess with that, I will hopefully I was of some help to the aspiring entrepreneurs, and you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing for yourself, your family, and your community, because you'll be providing employment, much needed employment by our people. So it's going to be hard, but just keep going. Be faithful, true, acknowledge the spirits of the land, and you will make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Harley.
Thank you, Harley. Awesome. We have a few comments in the chat. Ginger said, great advice with a smiley face. And Autumn just said, thank you for sharing your experience. Heart. Well, yeah, we're so grateful to have you, and always happy to hear your stories and your experience again. So thank you so much, Harley. And for those in the chat and those who tune in on YouTube, this will be posted. Go check out Buffalo Rock Tipi Camp in Piikani Nation. Awesome. Well, thank you, Harley. I think we'll wrap it up there. And
Thank
just
you,
to
folks.
Yeah.
I've got somewhere to go again, so busy.
Yep.
And yeah,
Once
guys.
I called you and you're jumping on a helicopter.
Well, you know, I take the flights occasionally. Love y'all. Have a good time.
Yes, much love.
This
Awesome.
old cowboy's hitting the trail here, so I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Harley. Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Yana Matsuno.
Sugapi. And then everyone who've attended, we just want to say thank you so much on behalf of Indigenous Tourism Alberta. And if you want to reach out, if you have any questions, yeah, please contact us. My email is development@indigenous-tourism-alberta.ca, and Curtis's is membership@indigenous-tourism-alberta.ca. So you can always reach out to us if you need help with anything, and we're happy to be there for you. So with that, I hope you have a great afternoon. Enjoy the sunshine, and we will see you again one day. Awesome.